Hi everyone, welcome back to Pages of the Globe, and today I'm going to be reading to you the short story called The Great Silence by Ted Chiang. Now this story is very interesting. It's a science fiction short story, and it is probably one of my favorite. So it's basically narrated by a Puerto Rican parrot whose species is on the brink of extinction. And the parrot addresses humans and their curiosity in regards to search for extraterrestrial beings in the vast expanse of our universe. And he talks about how there's this huge irony in humanity's quest for intelligent life elsewhere in the cosmos, whilst we willingly ignore intelligent beings on planet Earth. So, as the parrot says, humans have lived alongside parrots for thousands of years, and only recently have they considered the possibility that we might be intelligent. This is definitely a very interesting read, and I'm very excited to read this to you. Before we get too much into the story, I do want to tell you a couple facts about the author. So Ted Chiang was born on 1967. He's an American science fiction writer, and his work has won 4 Nebula Awards, 4 Hugo Awards, the John W. Campbell Award for Best Writer, and 4 Locus Awards. Chiang has published 17 short stories, novelettes, and novellas as far as 2019, and has won numerous science fiction awards for his works. His short story, Story of Your Life, was the basis of the film Arrival, which came out in 2016. His novelette, The Merchant and the Alchemist's Gate, in 2007, was published in the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction. It is definitely an interesting read, and I would recommend it to anyone who enjoys reading science fiction. The Great Silence was included in the Best American Short Stories anthology for 2016. The Great Silence itself was published in 2015. Now, without further ado, let's get on to the story. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below which short story you would like to hear next. The Great Silence by Ted Chiang. The humans use Arecibo to look for extraterrestrial intelligence. Their desire to make a connection is so strong that they've created an ear capable of hearing across the universe. But I and my fellow parrots are right here. Why aren't they interested in listening to our voices? We're a non-human species capable of communicating with them. Aren't we exactly what the humans are looking for? The universe is so vast that intelligent life must surely have arisen many times. The universe is also so old that even one technological species would have had time to expand and fill the galaxy. Yet there is no sign of life anywhere except on Earth. Humans call this the Fermi paradox. One proposed solution to the Fermi paradox is that intelligent species actively try to conceal their presence to avoid being targeted by hostile invaders. Speaking as a member of a species that has been driven nearly to extinction by humans, I can attest that this is a wise strategy. It makes sense to remain quiet and avoid attracting attention. The Fermi paradox is sometimes known as the Great Silence. The universe ought to be a cacophony of voices, but instead it's disconcertingly quiet. Some humans theorize that the intelligent species go extinct before they can expand into outer space. If they're correct, then the hush of the night sky is the silence of a graveyard. Hundreds of years ago, my kind was so plentiful that the Rio Abajo forest resounded with our voices. Now we're almost gone. Soon this rainforest may be as silent as the rest of the universe. There was an African gray parrot named Alex. He was famous for his cognitive abilities, famous among humans, that is. A human researcher named Irene Pepperberg spent 30 years studying Alex. She found that not only did Alex know the words for shapes and colors, he actually understood the concept of shape and color. Many scientists were skeptical that a bird could grasp abstract concepts. Humans like to think they're unique. But eventually, Pepperberg convinced them that Alex wasn't just repeating words, that he understood what he was saying. Out of all of my cousins, Alex was the one who came closest to being taken seriously as a communication partner by humans. Alex died suddenly when he was still relatively young. The evening before he died, Alex said to Pepperberg, "You be good, I love you." What more can they ask for than that? Every parrot has a unique call that it uses to identify itself. Biologists refer to this as the parrot's contact call. In 1974, astronomers used Arecibo to broadcast a message into outer space, intending to demonstrate human intelligence. That was humanity's contact call. In the wild, parrots address each other by name. One bird imitates another's contact call to get the other bird's attention. If humans ever detect the Arecibo message being sent back to Earth, they will know someone is trying to get their attention. Parrots are vocal learners. We can learn to make new sounds after we've heard them. It's an ability that few animals possess. A dog may understand dozens of commands, but it will never do anything but bark. Humans are vocal learners too. We have that in common. So humans and parrots share a special relationship with sound. We don't simply cry out, we pronounce, we enunciate. Perhaps that's why humans built Arecibo the way they did. A receiver doesn't have to be a transmitter, but Arecibo is both. It's an ear for listening and a mouth for speaking. Humans have lived alongside parrots for thousands of years, and only recently have they considered the possibility that we might be intelligent. I suppose I can't blame them. We parrots used to think humans weren't very bright. It's hard to make sense of behavior that's so different from your own. But parrots are more similar to humans than any extraterrestrial species will be, and humans can observe us up close. They can look us in the eye. How do they expect to recognize an alien intelligence if all they can do is eavesdrop from 100 light years away? It's no coincidence that aspiration means both hope and the act of breathing. When we speak, we use the breath in our lungs to give our thoughts a physical form. The sounds we make are simultaneously our intentions and our life force. I speak, therefore I am. Vocal learners like parrots and humans are perhaps the only ones who fully comprehend the truth of this. There's a pleasure that comes with shaping sounds with your mouth. It's so primal and visceral that throughout their history, humans have considered the activity a pathway to the divine. Pythagorean mystics believed that vowels represented the music of spheres and chanted to draw power from them. Pentecostal Christians believe that when they speak in tongues, they're speaking the language used by angels in heaven. Brahmin Hindus believe that by reciting mantras, they're strengthening the building blocks of reality. Only a species of vocal learners would ascribe such importance to the sound in their mythologies. We parrots can appreciate that. According to Hindu mythology, the universe was created with the sound Om. It's a syllable that contains within it everything that ever was and everything that will be. When the Arecibo telescope is pointed at the space between stars, it hears a faint hum. Astronomers call that the cosmic microwave background. It's the residual radiation of the Big Bang, the explosion that created the universe 14 billion years ago. But you can also think of it as a barely audible reverberation of that original ohm. That syllable was so resonant that the night sky will keep vibrating for as long as the universe exists. When the Arecibo is not listening to anything else, it hears the voice of creation. We Puerto Rican parrots have our own myths. They're simpler than human mythology, but I think humans would take pleasure from them. Alas, our myths are being lost as my species dies out. I doubt the humans will have deciphered our language before we're gone. So the extinction of my species doesn't mean the loss of a group of birds. It's also the disappearance of our language, our rituals, our traditions. It's the silencing of our voice. Human activity has brought my kind to the brink of extinction, but I don't blame them for it. They didn't do it maliciously. They just weren't paying attention. And humans create such beautiful myths. What imaginations they have. Perhaps that's why their aspirations are so immense. Look at Arecibo. Any species that can build such a thing must have greatness within it. My species probably won't be here for much longer. It's likely that we'll die before our time and join the great silence. But before we go, we are sending a message to humanity. We just hope the telescope at Arecibo will enable them to hear it. The message is this: you be good, I love you.